the thing is that the vote was to pursue a charter school. There wasn't really a structure at that time. It was an idea.
And I think we have differing opinions on whether or not we understood about that. I believe we're the chartering agent for the virtual school, but we're not.
It used to be that way. Then the law changed. That anybody
Okay, see, I'm on the committee. I'm the chair. And
I think, you cite the minutes as being irrelevant, then you quote the minutes as being relevant, the motion. So I guess you can't have it both ways. But I think to put it to rest, I would recommend to this board, hire somebody. Hire somebody if you want to. I prefer that the money be spent on the kids, for teachers, etc. But if you want to spend the money, after the New Hampshire Department of Education, State Board of Education, has looked at both charters, asked numerous questions, and felt very comfortable with the charters that they approved, if that's not good enough, then go ahead and recommend that we hire somebody.
And I think the state has tried to be a little bit flexible and work with different groups to try to make charter schools work because they have decided to support charter schools.
I think if we're having this kind of discussion, it means that there's some clarity that needs to happen. And I think the clarity happens with having somebody else give us some guidance. And it wasn't until the joint board meeting that we had back in September of 2007 that this virtual school was going to be anything different, maybe in essence a little bit different, but it was going to look a lot like GBeCS. And so GBeCS has shown itself to be part of our budget, they're part of our school, they're part of what we do. And when I voted in favor for that, and I'd love to know how the other board members voted in thinking it was, I thought that our administrators representing us for the co-op board were representing us as employees of our district, not as their own employees. And so I just want to go on the public record that I never thought that I was supporting an independent school that was going to be established by our administrators. So I guess I want to let the public know, as your board member, as a board member, I'm confused, I need some help.
Could I ask a question, Chris? In the board packet, I put all the citations where the virtual school has been discussed, either at co-op subcommittees, co-op meetings, or SAU joint chairs, or SAU joint board. Did you check all of those citations?
Yes, I did.
And you're still confused?
I'm not confused when I get to the latest, the August 29th joint chairs meeting, and my understanding is that the joint chairs don't have any authority to make votes. They bring recommendations to the joint board, and that's really where it's first indicated that this was an independent board. On September 17th, there was another discussion, so we're now talking almost a year and a half later that this word independent even comes up as something different than what we had in GBeCS.
But it was reflected in the minutes.
I wouldn't say it's even reflected. I
agree the way that's written is confusing. You have to remember how minutes are taken, both at committee meetings and here. It's not transcription. And as Steve mentioned, I think a lot of conversation goes on at meetings. I think of all the citations, if people will take the time to go through the minutes that are on the web and look at the citations, you will see several instances where school.
As far as the timeline, we really began the design process about 2 years ago. And I know there's been discussion at the board level about, was it stated this was separate? Was it stated this was statewide? And we all know that our minutes are not transcripts, and I know I've said this multiple times, that this is separate and statewide. And if there's disagreement over that, then I guess I didn't make it clear enough, but I know that this has been a discussion.